there was an incident that had happened. It was at no fault of my own, mind you.
$13,000 in arrears.
This is in retaliation. He makes comments to me.
Have you not paid any rent in more than a year?
I wasn't able to work.
This is a lot of rent.
I get what you're saying, but...
Today we have a landlord-tenant case. All parties are appearing by telephone, so we'll just have to stare at Judge Middleton and Meg Bauer while this hearing unfolds. The tenant got hurt over a year ago, couldn't work, and decided it was now the landlord's responsibility to pay for her housing. She had the opportunity to seek public assistance, but she chose not to. Watch abject entitlement play out here. Let's roll, nerds.
Miss Taylor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I really don't like doing these by telephone only. Particularly, I don't like doing them with the
I'm sorry.
attorneys.
I'm new to all this stuff, so.
Yes. All right. Often people will just come in, but you're here, and you're not doing any worse than the plaintiff is. They're here only by telephone either. But let me tell you what your rights are as a tenant in a landlord-tenant case. This is a demand for non-payment of rent. Your rent is pretty substantial. It's $1,000 a month, which is a lot for a 615 square foot, 1 bedroom, 1 bath apartment in Constant and White Pigeon, but that seems to be the current going rate. I'm just shocked, but anyway, you have the right to hire an attorney. Miss Taylor, are you still there?
Yes, I'm planning on getting out next weekend. I mean, there, for the reason of the rent, anyway, there was an incident that had happened back in January of 2024 that literally took me out of commission. Okay. It was at no fault of my own, mind you. At this point,
January of 24, 25, because
24, January of 24. Yeah. I don't know how much I can honestly say, but I feel that.
Hold on a minute. The rent is $13,000 in arrears, so apparently no rent has been paid for about a year or more. Mr. Davidson, what's the current arrearage?
That I'm not positive, Your Honor, but it would fit with the. I'm just trying to see real quick in the complaint if another rent has come due. Yeah, the total rent on 10, so we can add $1,000 pretty much for 4 months.
All right. Well, this isn't the greatest. All right. Rent paid through October 1st. So we had October, November, December, January, and February, which would be 5 additional months at $1,000 a month. So the amount due is $18,130. Court costs are 55, 5120 service fee, $75 statutory attorney fee.
Your Honor, if I could explain a little bit.
Yes.
Okay. The incident that happened in January, like I said, was no fault of my own. After Mr. White had received a letter in the mail, okay, then it turned into, I honestly feel that this is in retaliation of the letter that he did receive, okay. Ever since then, he makes comments to me, all sorts of stuff.
Well, just a minute. Have you not paid any rent in more than a year?
I wasn't able to work because of the incident that had happened in January.
All right. Well, so nonetheless, you haven't paid it. You owe $18,000 in unpaid rent. $18,311.20.
Okay, like I said, I wasn't able to work. I was in a wheelchair.
I understand.
Up until
so
June,
the fact that you're not
June
able
or July.
to pay the rent isn't a defense that you haven't paid the rent. And this is a lot of rent for what looks like a little converted garage. but, nonetheless, you can't just stay there indefinitely without paying any rent. So the law requires that I adjourn this 1 week.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but like I said, I had no way of any income. When I did call places to try and help me with the rent, they only go up to $750, not $1,000. Okay.
Yes.
I have over $12,000 in medical expenses alone from the incident that had happened in January. Like I said, which was no fault of my own. I was in a wheelchair up until July, and then I ended up having to use a walker. And I mean, my whole life has been turned upside down by this incident in January. I've lost my job of 2 years. I've lost my vehicle. There's not too much more that anybody can actually take from me. In December, Mr. White, he has turned off my heat. I've been sitting here. I've gone through all the cold spells that we have had with space heaters.
All right, well, let's talk about that. The next date is March 7th at 2:10. And I don't want everybody by telephone. If you can't connect by Zoom, I want you to be here live.
Your Honor, March 7th at which time?
2:10. Does that work for you?
Yes. Thanks,
All
Your
right,
Honor.
now, Ms. Taylor,
Yes.
what you're describing is a violation of the lockout law. Your landlord can't turn off your heat. It's against the law. So I don't know if it's they actually shut off the heat or the propane ran out or what happened.
No, I'm sorry. It's a
ahead.
boiler system. Okay. And December 15th, I had let him know. So, I mean, even if something to me was wrong with the boiler system itself, he's literally had plenty of time to get it fixed. I got sick over that. So then I had to, there's another medical expense that I've had to have.
All right, well, let's
he's
talk
involved.
about this. So have you made any effort to try to find a place to go?
I do now. Yes. Yes. Like I said, you know, the first time that he told me that he wanted me out, I was still in a wheelchair. I mean, there's not too much that I can do when I'm in a wheelchair. You know what I mean? And like I said, regardless of what he feels that I owe him, I've lost so much more than what he feels that I owe him in rent. Literally.
All right. Maybe
I'm on disability now.
All right, stop.
You know,
he's got a payment to make. You've lived there for 18 months without paying any rent. It's amazing he went as long as he did without asking to collect the rent. So I understand you're in dire straits, but if you had done this earlier, I guess you could have sought some assistance earlier. They're not going to pay $18,000 of arrearage. And you're right, $1,000 is expensive rent for St. Joe County, but that's what the market is going to. I looked at this place and it's quite small. At any rate, when you say you're working on finding a place to go, tell me about that.
well, I mean, like I said, I mean, I tried reaching out for help, but like I said, the nobody was going to help me at $1,000 a month. I had talked to Mr. White and tried to tell him, you know, that, you know, they only go up to $750, and he just didn't care. I mean, I could have got a hold of MDHS, you know, when I got served, but he waited for how long to actually serve me papers. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I didn't have any place to go, and now I'm going to move in with my son.
Okay.
There's nothing else I can do. You know, like I said, I'm on disability because of all this, because of the incident that happened in January.
Okay.
I went from working 74 hours a week to nothing.
Yes. You're right, it's life altering. All right, well, I'm continuing this to March 7th at 2:10 PM via Zoom or live. I can't see you. I don't know who I'm really talking to. I recognize Mr. Davison's voice, but it's not ideal to have plaintiff's counsel appeal by telephone either. But
I
anyway,
apologize, Your Honor.
you're gonna get 10 additional days from that day to move, which would be March 17th. So essentially, you've got until March 17th to move, or you could be subject to being evicted. At this point, they're not asking for any money. They're simply asking you to move. Even though this rent is high, I suspect they have a waiting list of people that he could rent it to. So, all right, let's revisit this next Friday at 2:10. Do you have any questions,
No.
Ms. Taylor?
No, like I said, I'll be out next weekend on the 8th.
All right,
The
well,
8th or
if you
9th.
are
Yeah.
out, then you turn in the keys and give your forwarding address in writing within 4 days. And we don't even need a hand to have a hearing. But next weekend will be after the 7th. So, all right. Very good. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, sir.
All right.
And thank you, Your Honor. My apology.
All right.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoy watching this content, please like and subscribe. It helps new channels like this one gain exposure. There is a lot more good court to come, so if you like what you saw, tell your friends. If you didn't, tell me, and let me know what you'd like to see and how I can improve. Thanks.